This is Jennifer Rebels. Today is December 6, 2018, and I am here at the Arizona Bar Foundation offices conducting an interview for the Legal Legacy Project for the State Bar of Arizona Foundation. And Dee Dee, could you please introduce yourself? Tell us your full name.
I'm Dee Dee Samet, and I'm an attorney in Tucson, Arizona.
Can you start by telling us a little bit about your background? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I went to several colleges, including University of North Carolina and University of South Carolina, and ended up in Arizona, and then ended up in law school. And actually graduated from college my second year of law school.
You graduated from college your second year of law school. How did that happen?
Well, I actually came to Tucson because my mother fell in love with Tucson, and I was going to go to the University of Texas. And she said, well, let's just drive out to Tucson, and we'll see if you can we'll just visit there, and then you can come back and go to Texas. And we got out here, and she said, well, if you want your dad's car, then you go to Arizona. If you go to Texas, I'm taking the car back to North Carolina. So I was easily bribed, and that's how I ended up at U of A.
Okay, so did you go to college and law school at the same time?
I actually went to college first, 1 year, and then they had a 3-3 plan, but because I had to finish my regular BA while I was in law school, I went back and took a course at the U of A for my BA, and then the second year of law school I graduated.
How did you decide to go to law school?
I just had all my major and minor requirements, and they said, well, you can take your electives in law school. And I just thought, okay, that would be an easy thing to do. And everybody always said you ought to be a lawyer because I argued all the time and asked a lot of questions.
Now, growing up, what did your parents do? Did their profession have an impact on you?
No, my parents didn't graduate college. My dad was a salesman, and my mother was a housewife, but she was very active in her community. She was very involved in prison reform and in a lot of different activities.
Do you have any brothers or sisters growing up?
I have 2 sisters. They both live in Tucson now. My mother had figured she'd only get my dad to come out if she got a kid out here now, and then all of us ended up out in Tucson, Arizona.
Wonderful. So you said your mom was really involved with the community. What kinds of things did she do, and how did that have an effect on you?
Well, she was very involved with volunteer, with working with kids, with working with, like I say, prison reform, a lot of different things. And so she instilled in us a couple of things. Number one, that we should get an education and that we should always have something to fall back on and not to rely on just being married or something like that. And that we should do whatever we can for our community because it's good to give back. And so that's what I've always done.
Once you got into law school, how did your interest evolve? How did you decide?
Well, when I went to law school, which was many years ago, we were one of the largest classes. We had 120, and we graduated 63. And out of that, 3 were women. So when I went to law school, it was unusual to have women in the classes. And some of the teachers were a little bit taken aback, let's say, by that. I had one teacher who was had a very colorful vocabulary, let's say. Now I'm from the South, and men didn't swear in front of women. And so what happened was we had an agreement. It was a 7:40 class, and I didn't like to get up early at that time. Now I get up at 5:30 or something, but at that time I didn't. So I would get to class at 8 o'clock, and he would do all of his swearing between 7:40 and 8, and he would never call on me for being late. And then after I got there, he would stop swearing, and it worked out fine.
Do you remember what class he taught?
Oh yeah, sales. At that time, it was called sales, but then it was really a class that we didn't need to have because they were coming in with the Uniform Commercial Code and all. So they were teaching us this class, but it was going to be obsolete by the time we got out of law school.
Can you tell me what it was like to go to law school and have there only be 3 women that graduated with you?
It was fun. I had a good time. I was very, I was kind of like, they had the law fraternities. I was a mascot. I was, when they had the baseball or softball games, I was the umpire. I got along with everybody and enjoyed it and learned a lot. And we had a lot of the sons of some of the more famous legal families in Arizona in our class. So we had Charlie Wilmer from Snell and Wilmer. We had Bob Fannin, Governor Fannon's son. We had Dave Udall from the Udalls. There were just a lot of people that were well known in Arizona, and it was an education to be able to meet them, see them, and then to practice later with them.
What was your life outside of law school like at that time? Were you married, single? What was going on?
I was single, and between going to law school and then going to the university and doing all that, I didn't have a lot of time. And then we weren't supposed to work when you were in law school, but I had a job. I worked as a cashier in a movie theater, and it would show movies just before they came on TV, or sometimes they were on TV when we showed them. They were old movies, and I would be in this little booth, and once I was in there, I would have to study and could study my books. And I knew we weren't supposed to, but one day the dean of the law school, Dean Lyons, came and took a ticket and never said a word about me working. And so I did that while I was in law school. So between all that, I didn't have much time for very little else. Although I will tell you, my booth was right near where the screen and the sound was. And after hearing Death of a Salesman for 5 days, you get pretty depressed.
I would imagine.
So